simple instruction is passed on. R-A-U. Now what you find is that most of the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad are simple instructions. And what's more, you find them manifested practically, consistently in the daily lives of people. You understand? There's a difference between what you whisper, some stupid thing, and you whisper it round, okay, and it comes down as okay? It doesn't mean anything. But when you're practically manifesting something in your life, every day in my life, my father's saying, R-A-U. Remember, do that in your life, R-A-U. You see, it's different. It becomes part of your habit. And you remember, oh yes, that's what my grandfather taught my father, and I taught it to my son. And it's manifested practically in your life. You see, that's the same with most of the traditions of Muhammad. How to pray, how to fast, how to be kind to your parents, what to do here, what to do there. It's not just something they told and, oh, that's interesting, let me file that away in my mind. It's something they learned and they manifested it. And when they were acting, they remembered it in their life and passed it on. You see? So it's not like these people make out. And in fact, oral transmission in such a situation is not at all unreliable. In fact, when you add to that the type of intensity the Muslim scholars used to go in order to make sure that these sayings of the Prophet Muhammad were authenticated, that they weren't invented, that they weren't corrupted, they would demand, who did you hear this from? And they would have to examine the character of this man. Is he truthful? Is he known to be pious and religious? Has he got a good memory? Meaning maybe he forgot, maybe his mind slipped. And the other thing we have to remember is in those days, okay, people had much better memories than we. They didn't have writing like we do. They didn't have video recorders. They didn't have tape recorders to put everything down. They used to remember things. They used to remember things. And the other thing we find is until this day, you will find little children of 8 years old who can memorize the Qur'an in Arabic from beginning to end. And the Qur'an was memorized by so many Muslims. How is it possible, as this man Joseph Smith claims, okay, that the Qur'an, now think about this man, what he's saying is so laughable. It's so laughable. The reason why people don't bother asking this man's questions is because anyone who knows anything will think it's not even worth replying to this nonsense. It's so absurd. But he does make it sound convincing. But now imagine the scenario Joseph Smith is painting. He's painting a scenario that in fact the Qur'an was only introduced 150 years after Muhammad. Now imagine this. These Arabs, okay, if you only look at them 50 years ago, as they are Muslims, okay, but having deserted Islam, you see how they're fighting each other. Look at them now. Saddam Hussein fighting Saudi Arabia. Look at these people fighting and quarreling. It's like it's in their blood. Okay, they're Bedouins. It's their nature. And before Islam, they were idol worshippers. Each one worshipped his own idol. Each one, as this man Joseph Smith admitted himself, they would set up an idol in a town in order to make it a center of influence. He said that himself. Yet he's suggesting that all these Arabs, okay, with all their different idols, fighting and quarreling each other, without any unifying force, without any single religion, managed to defeat the Persian and Roman empires. And then this man Hajjaj, who he claims introduced the Qur'an 150 years after the Muhammad, managed to impose this religion upon all these idol worshippers. Without any quarrel, without any complaint, with not one single word of, oh no, we're not going to give up our idols for this Qur'an, nothing. Suddenly, miraculously, this man Hajjaj, of whom the Muslim scholars were actually, some of them were fighting him, the people who had memorized, it's so ridiculous. If you study Muslim history, you will laugh. But of course, most of the people are ignorant. They don't know. So people like Mr. Smith come along and they use a few snazzy words and they quote a few exotic sounding locations, and they talk about a few tablets here and there and a few inscriptions here and there. You go, oh, the Muslim faith has now been challenged. But any Muslim who has any knowledge is just laughing inside this thing. This is so ridiculous. So really, we find that we have so much proof and so much evidence to support the fact that the Qur'an the Muslims have is exactly the same. Isn't it enough that you can pick up a Qur'an in Central Mosque And you can go to China and pick up a Qur'an there. Then I challenge you, go to South America and pick up a Qur'an there. Then go to Siberia now. There's a whole lot of Eskimos. Half of them apparently become Muslim. You know why? Because the Russian government, the Soviet Republic, when they wanted to conquer all these Muslim things, Tajikistan and Bukhara and stuff, the first thing they do is they arrest all the Muslim scholars. And they send them off to Siberia. And the Muslim scholars ended up converting half the Eskimos. Okay? So now they have a huge Muslim Eskimo population. Go to Siberia, I can give you the address. I know the organization that's helping build mosques out there, and pick up a Qur'an from there. Everywhere you go in the Muslim world, and bring them all together. Bring them all together. And you will find word for word, letter for letter, they are exactly the same. In fact, you can go to any of these places, ask where is the Huffaz, where's the Salam, the Hafiz, where's the one who's memorized the Qur'an, and bring them all together, and they'll recite the Qur'an in the same accent. And this is the same accent that was recited by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam 1,400 years ago. And a lot of these people don't even speak Arabic. That's enough. Isn't that enough for you? How did the Qur'an, this one Qur'an, become established so unanimously across the whole face of the Muslim world without a single complaint from anybody? No one complaining, oh, well, this verse is not there and that verse is not there. If Hajjaj bin Yusuf, 150 years after Muhammad, suddenly sort of introduced the Qur'an like Joseph Smith claims, if he suddenly introduced it, surely you will find his opponents like Abdullah ibn Zubayr, who was fighting him, bring his own version of the Qur'an to say, no, 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 God said this, supporting me. And then some other people will be saying, no, 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 no. Hajjaj bin Yusuf's Qur'an is not the right one. I've got the real one, and here's some things saying I'm right, follow me. But no one ever did that. And if Hajjaj bin Yusuf could invent the Qur'an, how come no one can invent it? If he can do it, any man can do it. But the Qur'an, the language of the Qur'an, has proved inimitable. No one has been able to imitate it. No one has been able to produce one verse like it. Even the most intellectual and the greatest of the Arabic philosophers, they've tried. And the intelligent ones, they broke their pens and they gave up. They said, we can't do it. It's impossible. And only the fools amongst them, like Musaylimah the liar, he tried to bring his own Qur'an. And like the Qadiani imposter Ghulam Ahmed, okay, from Pakistan, he tried to bring his own Qur'an. Anybody who knows Arabic, you will hear this and laugh, okay? They will just laugh. You see, people, so the reality is that we find the methodology of the Christian missionary is to lie. And I just want to give you an example from the same man down here. You'll see him every Sunday probably, Joseph Smith. I give you an example of his lies. Okay? If I can find it. Has anyone got one of his leaflets? The African, I saw someone with the African leaflet there. They ask serious questions to Afro-Caribbean. Come on, someone's got it. Come on, Rashid. Who's got it? I'm sure I put it here somewhere. Okay, wait a minute. So they produced this leaflet, and this leaflet is called 99 Truth Tracks. 99 Truth Tracks, okay? It should be called 99 Lie Tracks, okay? Because that's what it is. Fortunately, I don't seem to have it.
Maybe has.
Okay, it doesn't matter anyway. If you pick up this leaflet of his, you'll find in this leaflet 99 Truth Tracks. There's one about Africa. It's called A Christian Asks African Muslim something something. And in it he says, right? He says that the Qur'an is racist and anti-black. And you know what he uses as proof? He says, on the day of judgment, their faces will be blackened. He says, look. He says, the Qur'an has something against black people. Now let me ask you a question, right?